How
morning or something.
All right, good morning or something. How are you? All right, Rabbi Isai, good morning. This started yesterday. Bezer Hashem. Anybody?
Looks like the basic English picture yesterday.
Here, pass it down. Pass it down. Here.
I'm just throwing it upside down like this.
Yesterday we just started digging. We had a Nochas Even Apina. For those of you who weren't there, I wasn't either. Your seat is right over here. Oh, my seat is over here. You're right to my right, and Norm's to my left. I have no idea.
Buy an Amma chair right now.
Where are you going to sit?
Small donation.
So far, I'm going to sit here, and there's going to be tables this way. This is going to be this.
Next to you, that doesn't make sense.
I'm kidding. Nobody's sitting next to you. Nobody's sitting here. Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
be selling off the brickwork now.
Brick by brick.
So they actually dug yesterday and poured the foundations all in one day. Sunday, the metal structure is going up. Before Rosh Hashanah, we're going to have the complete structure enclosed, and then we just have to finish it, which takes another 3 months.
Hold on, where's
Two questions. Why is this printed on two sides?
That we're waiting for the dedication for that.
Where's the coffee machine?
The coffee machine, 2 coffee machines, is going to be a coffee room. It's going to be unbelievable. Okay.
Coffee machine.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a serious place. This is a man cave. Oh, my friend called me up. He goes, "Do you have a man cave in Israel?" I said, "Yeah, we're actually building a Torah Dika man cave. That's what it is." All right.
No,
This is a man cave.
You thought of the coffee thing.
Ellie, can I put in a vending machine?
We got. You can do whatever you want. All right, let's go. Rabbi say. I have a little riddle to start off the shir. It says we learned yesterday that a chatas that dies ukshimeisa. The last line on yesterday's daf beis amid beis. Today's daf gimel ukshimeisa kivin dinehena kol shu mal. There's Meilah midrabanan on a chatas that dies. So let me ask you, what is the difference between a chatas that dies and a chatas that dies? It says Ukshimesa, and then there's a concept called Chata Shemesa. So, let's see. There's a very big difference. They both die. What's Chata Shemesa and Chata Shemesa? Is there any difference?
One died by itself, one by strength.
They both die by itself. No, close. Who said that? But it's not really. Okay. Well, we'll see. It's just a stam to wake you up. Says the Gemara. Based on that line that we just said, that a chatas that dies, there's still an Isser D'Rabbanan to touch it, to be Meilah from it. Ask the Gemara, 5 lines down, have to finished already. This is the problem in the Meilah. If you go over 1 line or 2, you're ready. The next day you have nothing to learn, basically.
Don't worry.
You have to be very careful. I'm very worried. Vosnan, chatois hamesois, the chatois that die. Yeah, exactly. I'm enjoying myself immensely, actually. Chatois hamesois. These are chatois hamesois. There's a list. The famous one is the middle one. Where is it? Mesu Ba'aleh, the middle one, 3. If the owner, somebody brings a chatos and he dies, so what happens to the chatos that he designated on the side? You put it into a room and you let it die, unfortunately. And these 5 things also, the vlad chatos, tmuras chatos, b'chulu, kippur ba'aleh, over shnasav, it's more than it already passed his first birthday, bye-bye. So to answer the riddle, chatos hamesois are these chatos that must be left to die. The example that we had yesterday, the chatos actually died. You have a chatos, the owner didn't do anything wrong. He didn't die. He didn't have a kapara. Nothing happened. All of a sudden, the animal had a heart attack and died. So it died, and the Gemara says that Rabbanan hold that there's still a Isser Meilah Midrabanan on that Chatos. Now there's a category called Chatois HaMesois. Chatos HaMesa means a Chatos that must die. You put it to death, so to speak. It didn't die on its own.
Destined to die.
Destined to die. Thank you. Snan Chatois HaMesois, a Chatos that's destined to die, halachically, Umois HaHolchos Liyam HaMelach. It's basically the same thing. If somebody designated money, put aside money for a chatos, and then he himself died, so you must take that money and throw it into the salty sea. In other words, you have to destroy the money. What's the halacha? Loi nehenin v'loi moyalin. First of all, you can't benefit from it. Meaning, midrabanan you shouldn't benefit from it. And then it says v'loi moyalin. That would tell me that even midrabanan there's no Meilah. Ask the Gemara the question, you just told me that an animal, a chatas that drops dead, there's an Isser Meilah Midrabanan. So how come a chatas that's destined to die, and even if it died, certainly if it died, there's no Meilah. If it's alive, there's no Meilah. So if it died, certainly there's no Meilah. It doesn't become worse after it dies, right? Even a live animal, right? A live horse would make more sense that there's Meilah than a dead horse. So it says here that a chatas that's destined to die, there's no Meilah. V'loi moyal, it means even midrabanan there's no Meilah. And yesterday we learned that if a person designated a chatas and it died, there is Meilah. So what's the difference? So the Gemara is a tremendous difference. Amri, chatois hamesos b'chayein, when a chatas is destined to die but it's alive, it just has a chiyuv misa on it. We stamped it with a misa. We said, this animal, don't feed it any longer. B'dilim minhoin. People know to stay away from it. So certainly, even after they die, they're going to stay away from it. When you have a chatos and you're not careful from it, you're bringing it to the Beis Hamikdash, you're busy with it all day, and then it drops dead. So I'm busy with it. I'm busy touching it, busy carrying it, and then it dies. I'll continue using it. So Rabbanan felt the need to make a gzeira so people stay away from it. But when a chatos, everybody knows this animal's alive. Look, they paskin on it misa. Everybody, the Bezdin said, yeah, this animal has to die, and everybody's saying, oh, the wife says, are you crazy? Well, you're not going to feed it. It's mamash. Everybody knows, stay away from it. So there's no need to create a gzeira d'Rabbanan and make meal on it. Now we're going back to the machlokes that we had yesterday. If you shecht an animal in the wrong part of the Beis Hamikdash, again, you have. This is the midpoint of the Beis Hamikdash, Tzafan and Daram, and you're supposed to shecht in this area of the Azara, Kochi Kochim, and you shechted Kochi Kochim on top. Machlokes Rav Yosef and Rabba, what happens if you over and you put it on top of the mizbeach? Do you have to remove it or not? The Meilah lo yerdu. What are you talking about? We did this entire zvachim, and now all of a sudden Meilah. And this is the first time you're asking me to turn it around. After the whole Zvach, we're done with Zvachim. I have this chart every single day. You remember I had a Mizbech that moved up and down. It was a whole Maisa. I know. It's a little problem. A little problematic. How does the art scroll have it? The art scroll has a chart in their Gemara. You're going to tell me now that this is not on OneDrive? Watch out. Okay.
It's moving the camera, you can't see anything.
Okay. Hi David. I hope we're live with him. I remember what I used to do. I used to go to the next step. He says that helps. Okay, fine.
Just using another phone.
Guy from Los Angeles, from California, is complaining that we're off 5 minutes. All right, he has to go to sleep soon. It's getting late by him. Zog the Gemara. Eisir Rav Yosef l'Rabba. This is an amazing Gemara. This is a very unique lashon, Rabbi Yisai. I don't remember such a lashon. It says, Chada migoy chada v'chada migoy chada. It's basically he's taking 3 mishnayos, and from each mishnah he learns another halacha, and he comes up with the halacha. Let me show you how this works. If I can find it. Oh. There's 3 mishnayos in Zvachim. One in Daf Samach Vav and Beis, one in Daf Samach Ches and Beis, and one in Daf Peidal and Amud Aleph. So basically, if we start from the back, from the end, it says Psuli b'kodesh im olu leyerdu. Psuli b'kodesh means any psul that happens because of the kedusha of the Beis Hamikdash, something that he did wrong in the avodah. So if a kohen shechted with his left hand, he shechted in the wrong place in the Beis Hamikdash, that's Psuli b'kodesh. Versus that the psul happened on its own, let's say the animal's chayiv misa because he killed somebody. So if the psul is because the avodah is no good, the halacha is alu lo yerdu. Now, Rav Yosef is going to try to prove that the psuli b'kodesh means that it's shalei b'makom, that is the shechita even in the wrong place is considered part of this category. Because if we just have this Mishnah, if we just have the 3rd Mishnah, Daf Pei Daled, it says anything that's pasul b'kodesh, im olu leyerdu. Now, what does that mean? Maybe it means the left hand. But how do I know that it means even if you shecht in the wrong place? If I shechted outside of the Beis Hamikdash, that's not included. If I shecht in the wrong place in the Beis Hamikdash, is that included or not? And then he brings the 2nd Mishnah. It says, Kol shepsuli b'kodesh einu metama b'bliya. So that halacha tells me, when it comes to a bird, a kosher bird that's an avela, a kosher bird that dies on its own, has a very unique tumah, that when you touch the bird itself, you don't become tameh, but if you swallow it and it's in your throat, then you are tameh, your begadim become tameh, everything's tameh. It says in the 2nd Mishnah that he brings, Daf Samaches, that anything that's pasul b'kodesh, if the psul happened because you used your left hand, then it's not metameh beis abliya, meaning, any bird, if you take your thumb and put it through the neck of a bird in your house, what did you just create? An avela. But if you did that same action in the Beis Hamikdash, it's melika and it's tar. So what if I took my thumb and I put it through the bird's neck, but I was in the south part of the Beis Hamikdash? Is the bird an avela or the bird is kosher? It's just, I can't eat it, it's pasul, but it has some sort of kedusha. Says the Mishnah, Kol shepsuli b'kodesh, if I shechted the bird with my left thumb versus my right thumb, then it's not metama, it's not an avela. So if I put it in my mouth, I'm not tameh. But I still don't know if I shechted it in the south of the Beis Hamikdash, melik in the south, is that also considered not an avela? And for that I need the 1st Mishnah. V'chulad. That Mishnah is referring to Naf Samach Vav. All the birds that are shechted in the wrong place, meaning, if I shecht the bird, instead of below the red line, I shechted above the red line. Or Oylas Oif is supposed to be above the red line. I shechted it below the red line, then it is what? A metamim beis abliya. So let's start again.
Basically, each Mishnah is explaining the next.
Each Mishnah is explaining the next Mishnah. It's beautiful how it works. If you think about it, it's beautiful, because if we start from the last Mishnah, that something is pasul b'kodesh im alu leyerdu, because all Rav Yosef is coming to ask is a kasha on Rabbah. Rabbah says that if I shecht an animal, a big animal, a sheep, in the south side of the Beis Hamikdash, im alu yerdu, I get rid of it. Now Rav Yosef is going to prove that that's not true. Why? Because anything that's pasul b'kodesh, anything that the psul is because I shechted in the wrong way in the Beis Hamikdash, imalu lo yerdu, and that includes not shechting it in the right place. Because the Mishnah over here, it goes in steps, because the 2nd Mishnah talks about Beis Abliya, and the 1st Mishnah talks about Beis Abliya shalei b'makom. So now I know that Tumas Beis Abliya and shalei b'makom go together, and Bekitzer shalei b'makom. And he makes some sort of a jump. This is shalei b'makom. Top and bottom is shalei b'makom. I shechted, I was supposed to be up here, literally standing on the ledge, and I was standing down below, like these guys. Stam brought it. I saw a nice picture of how the Zrika goes in Darim Ma'ariv. If you look closely over here in the Mizbeach, this pink, upside down, it's okay? This arrow shows you there's a little bit of the Yisoid comes out over here, and there's a little hole here, and that's where they did the Zrika. Anyways, that's where the Kohanim were. This is what it looked like with their hands. Everybody got dirty. If you wear gloves, it's a big no-no. You can get your hand cut off. Kitzer, if what?
That's not good.
Right. It's stam. I no shaykhs to the sugya. Fine. Again, so the Mishnah says that if I do melika, not shchita, if I do melika, shalei b'makayim, and melika shalei b'makayim, I have to assume is the same thing as shchita shalei b'makayim. Shechting an animal in the south versus the north. When it comes to animals, there's south and north. When it comes to birds, there's up and down. They're the same. And it says in the Mishnah that if you have a melika shalei b'makayim, ein metamim beis abliya, it's good enough. This bird that you're supposed to shecht it on top of the red line, you shecht it below the red line, it's not in a Meilah. If I put it in my mouth, I don't become tummy. And therefore, I could assume also, if I don't become tummy, it still has Kedusha. And if it has Kedusha, im alu le'yerdu. I don't remove it from the Mizbeach. And Meilah asked Rav Yosef and Rabba, if I shecht an animal in the south, if I put it on the Mizbeach, why am I taking it off the Mizbeach? Why do you have to take it all the way? It seems from all three Mishnayos that im alu lo yerdu. Let's see it inside. Eisvei Rav Yosef l'Rab. Smack me on the page. Do me a favor. I need a shtickle. That was tiring.
The good stuff you want or regular stuff?
Regular. Shkayach. Chada migoy chada v'chada migoy chada. I'm basically learning from three separate Mishnayos, he says. First Mishnah says, V'chulon ein metamim begodim beis abliya. The first Mishnah, you go in order. We started from the back, but he's going in order. It says in the first Mishnah, V'chulon, there's really a fourth Mishnah. V'chulon is saying, the Mishnah before that describes all these birds, one is above, one is below. The chatos was above and the oil is below. The chulon, you should know, the malika is strong enough that even though you did it in the wrong place, there's still no tumah. And if there's no tumah, it doesn't lose its kedusha. You designated an oila, it has kedusha, and if you use it, you're moyel, and you should know that if I kill it with a malika in the wrong place of the mizbeach, it's still kadosh. And if you use it afterwards, you're over a malika. This is absolutely no chiddush right over here, this line, because it's telling you the typical way of doing it. Chutz mechatos, besides the chatos, ha'oiv, she'osa lemata, that's where you're supposed to do it, below the red line. K'maisa chatos ha'oiv, l'shem chatos. If you did everything perfectly, then it goes out. Because now, a chatos ha'oiv, they do everything k'moshe tzarich. You do malika below the line. You had all the right intentions. What happens to it? The kohen gets to eat it. So Meilah, if the kohen gets to eat it, what's the halacha? No more Meilah. Once it goes from Hashem, Kodesh Hashem, to a kohen, Meilah flies away. How come it talks about a chatas ha'oif and not a oilas ha'oif? You can't eat it. It never goes to the kohen, so Meilah it always remains Meilah. Fine. But that's not important to us. Next Mishnah, Viktani Lovei, and it says in the next Mishnah, and Daf Samach Chesam Beis, Kol Shehoye Psulei BaKodesh. If somebody had a psul BaKodesh, meaning the Kodesh caused it. Another great example in that Mishnah itself is a knife. What if somebody did Malika with a knife? Is that psul BaKodesh or Stam psul? That's Stam psul. Now you took an external psul, nothing to do with Beis Hamikdash. You're not in the wrong place in the Beis Hamikdash. You're using the wrong utensil. Let's say you take the wrong type of bird, a bird that doesn't have an aver. It's missing one of its avarim. That's not a psul of Migdash. That's a psul of the actual bird. But kol shoyib psulei ba'kodesh, if you use your left hand, and what we're trying to get to more importantly is shalei b'makayim, but we don't know that yet. But it says in the other Mishnah, Kol shehaya psulei b'kodesh einu mitam b'godim beis habliyah. That's not so bad as shechting with a knife. Shechting with your left hand still has some... Listen, you didn't do everything. You still have to bring another bird. And it's puzzle, but it has the power, the Malik has the power to get rid of the nevela in it, and there's still Kedusha in that bird, that if you touch it, you use it, you're over Meilah. Okay, but if you sheft it with a knife, instead of Malika, then you created a real nevela, and if you put it in your mouth and your throat, your metama close a beis habliya in your throat. Right? It's a very unique type of, only for kosher birds that die. That's it. Uktani says the next Mishnah, Kol shahaya psulei b'kodesh imal ulo yerdu. So now there's a kasha on Rabbo. If it's psulei b'kodesh, and we already established from the first Mishnah that it's talking about shalei b'makayim, so too daraim is also considered shalei b'makayim. And according to Rabbah, if you shecht an animal instead of a tzafin, you shecht it in daraim, if it goes onto the mizbeach, it's so gone, it's literally like choking the animal, says Rabbah. It's like bringing a veil onto the mizbeach, you have to get rid of it. How come over here it seems like you don't get rid of it? To Yufta the Rabbah, to Yufta. It's actually a Bam Kasha, the Gemara doesn't even try to answer it. Says the Gemara. What do we do now? I heard a joke. We have a machlokes between Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef. If you shecht an animal, a korban, outside of its place, in the dorib instead of tzafan, and we have a machlokes whether you put it on the mizbech, whether you have to take it off or not. It's very simple to Rabbi Lazar. We don't know what is pashatim. Either you have to take it off or not take it off. That's unclear. But one thing is for sure that was clear to him. Right? There was a time in Klal Yisrael, before we had the real Beis Hamikdash, that you were able to make a bama in your backyard. You had a private mizbeach. There's also communal bama. So if a guy had a private bama, he didn't have all the halachas of what we have in the Beis Hamikdash, or of the communal bama. In other words, there certainly wasn't the idea of tzafin and darim. It's your backyard. There's no tzafin and darim. There's no half of the azara. You can shecht it any place in your backyard you feel like. You don't have to do tnufa, whatever, all these halachas. What's important to us is tzafin and darim. It says, very interesting story. A guy decided he's going to bring an oila. He'll bring oil in his backyard. So when he designated it, he had backyard in his head. And then he brought it into the communal bama. He brought it to the Beis Hamikdash, let's say. The communal bama. It has a makam. It has all the halachas. Now, when he designated this animal, it didn't have tzafin and darim. We were going easy on it. Now you bring it into a place that requires tzafin and darim. So there's something changed in this animal. Says Rabbi Lazar, called Tua mechitzos lekol davar. The mechitzos capture this animal for everything. In other words, you have to do it in tzafin, just like all the other animals. It doesn't have special privileges.
Which bits of this chap's work was done on the private bomber?
Nothing. His head. His head. So what? The same thing as this chap's machshava to make an oila or to make a chatas. It's chal in his head. I'm making an oila that's going to be shechted anywhere I feel like in my backyard. Then he took it and he put it into not in his backyard, into the Beis Hamikdash. Boy, Rebbe Lazar, oilas bamas yachet shechnisa shenifsala. So now you have to put in parentheses here. What does it mean shenifsala? That he shechted it in daraim instead of tzafain. Alu maushi yerdu. What happens if I put it on top of the mizbeach? Is it so bad that I have to take it off? But what's his question? His question is only in a situation where he designated it for a bama in his backyard, and he put it on a bama, the communal bama, on the regular mizbech. But he never had a shayla, says the Gemara, about our case, where he just took an animal and brought it to the Beis HaMikdash to begin with, and shechted it in the daraim, and then put it on the mizbech. That he didn't have a question. His question was this very interesting question that he designated originally for his backyard, and then he shechted it in the daraim, and then he put it on the mizbech to have to take it off the mizbech. Why? The Gemara wants to assume because he never had a shayla on that question. It was so simple to him, whatever the answer is, either yerdu or lo yerdu, we don't know, and we never will know.
Well, we'd assume that it was Yerdu, because this is already like step 2.
Okay.
Because if you brought it from the outside.
Yes or no? We're going to see now Svar's going both ways.
Both places were kosher, his backyard is kosher, and this kosher.
Yeah, but Safin is not kosher. Darim is not kosher. Darim is very not kosher.
Which is kosher to the Beis HaMikdash, which is kosher.
No,
Right.
But once it gets into the walls of the Beis HaMikdash.
New halachas apply.
Right.
New halachas apply when you come into the Beis HaMikdash. In the Beis HaMikdash, all of a sudden there's a tzafin and a darim, which you didn't have in the backyard. All of a sudden you have to do tnufa. Also you have to do all these things. There's many halachas that apply.
He's posted,
3-4 halachas.
He's posted with the machshava of the yard already, in other words?
No, that's over. That's out.
Yeah.
Once it hits the walls, that takes on the dinim of the Beis
Rebbe Elazar says straight away that you have to, when in Rome, you're in the Beis HaMikdash, you have to act like the Beis HaMikdash. You have to shechted in the tzafin. The question is, he didn't listen to those rules. He forgot about those rules, and he shechted it anyways in the darim. And now he went and he, very sensitive. We're not talking about that guy. We're talking about Stam and Tzaddik. Then he went and he put it on top of the mizbeach, which he also shouldn't have. Had he found out that you're not allowed to shecht in the darim, they would never put it on the mizbeach. But he went ahead and he forced himself up there and he put it on the mizbeach. Then he found out. Do you take it off or not? But Rebbe Elazar only asked the question in the case where he designated to begin with the bama. But what happened to our case? The machlokes Rabbi and Rabbi Yosef has nothing to do with a private bama. The machlokes Rabbi and Yosef, a guy came to the Beis HaMikdash with an animal. He's supposed to shecht it in the north, and he shechted it in the south. And then he put it on top of the mizbech. Do you have to take it off or not? Machlokes. Nothing to do with your original designation. So midikabayle.
From Rabbi Elazar's question,
Yeah.
would imply that only because he had originally planned to do it outside.
Correct.
It's a shayla.
Correct.
But if it was lechatchila from inside all the way,
Yeah.
then you certainly have to take it off.
That's what he said. But the Gemara says we don't know. We don't know exactly. Well, hold on. Let's finish and then we'll see.
Which is also a little schwer because we just finished with the tiyufta, the other one. Tiyufta and Imam.
Yeah, but that's one thing. They happened different years before. I don't know what. Says the Gemara, "Mi de kabayle lahada." Since Rebbe Elazar only asked in this specific case, where he designated it in a private bama, miklal deidach pshitale. Our case, where there's no private bama, he just went directly to the Beis HaMikdash and he shechted in the wrong place. Pshitale ikirabba ikir Rav Yosef. Over here the Gemara says mefurish. We don't know. It could go either way. Maybe for sure yerdu. Maybe for sure not yerdu. Says the Gemara, no. It's one after another. In other words, it's two questions. I could see it both ways, says the Gemara. In a regular guy brings a regular carbon in a Beis HaMikdash, that rabbi holds they have to take it off the mizbeach. Im alu yerdu. Why? Mechitza ketikna psala, shaloi ketikna loy psala. Maybe this animal has special privileges because you designated it to shecht it in your backyard, and it doesn't require the north. So if I bring it to the Beis HaMikdash, even though over there I am required to do, but I didn't do it. Alu lo yerdu. Maybe Rabbi agrees because it's a lighter type of animal. I can't force myself on this animal. What?
What's that mean?
It means that lechatchila you should do it like everybody else because you're in Rome.
Kaltur mechitzas means once it went in, it's over. Whatever it was is done.
Correct, but it still has a lighter thing than Meilah
It's half time.
In Kaltur Mechitz is not 100%. In other words, it didn't change the designation. You have to do certain halachas now. But what happens if you didn't do those halachas? Throw it out. Oidilma shaloi ketigna loy psala. Oidilma afilu Rav Yosef. Damer im also loy tereid. In our case, when you go to Beis HaMikdash shechten in the north, in the south instead of the north, Rav Yosef says, "Don't worry about it. Loy tereid mechitza ketigna Kolta. The Mizbeach, Tosa says, by the way, the Mechitza doesn't really mean the Mizbeach, fine. It captures it. Shaloi ketikna, loi kolta. Oh, you like that one? Teiku. Omer Rav Gidol Omer Rav. So until now we learned, we said this yesterday. Chaval, I should have brought Ruven's chart. I was thinking about printing it and I forgot. Lo mishaneh. What do we have? We have a person, we have Kochi Kochim and Kochim Kalim. Kochi Kochim are all Korbanos, the strong Korbanos, like Chatos, Oil Hasham. Then you have Kochim Kalim. Kochi Kochim, Kedushas Aguf. What's the difference? We said that a Chatos, once you designate it, a Chatos, Oil, you designate it, they become Kadosh right away. And if you use it, then you have to pay the Beis HaMikdash for using it. When does the status change? By Zrika. Right? Zrika is the cutoff point. Once I perform Shchita, Kabbalah, Hilacha, Zrika, then it becomes the Kain's. And then if I use it, I don't know anything because it's not just Hashem's, it's also the Kain's. Besides the Imurim inside that stay for Hashem. Kochi Kalim is the exact opposite. Kochi Kalim, if I use it, it's nothing. It's really considered the owners the whole time. But once I do Shchita, Kabbalah, Hilacha, Zrika, Zrika is the cutoff point that then it becomes Meilah on the Imurim. So what does Zrika do? Zrika makes it mutter and there's no Meilah, or there is Meilah. Zrika is the important part here. Comes Rav Gidol.
Kochim, that is Meilah or not Meilah on the Imurim?
Imurim, there's always Meilah from the first second all the way to the end. Imurim don't change. What changes is all the edible parts. What goes to the Kohen, that changed by the Zrika, and by Kochi Kalim, there's no Meilah on the Imurim until after Zrika. Then, only then starts the clock starts ticking after the Zrika, and you chayiv to do Imurim, then there's Meilah on that. Omer Rav Gidol Omer Rav, Zrikas pigul einoi moitzi midei Meilah. B'kochi kochim, when I do Zrika on pigul, in other words, when I have a machshava of pigul when I'm doing Zrika, I think about pigul, I think I'm going to eat this tomorrow instead of today. So the Zrika doesn't change the status. In other words, Zrika is nothing now. My Zrika is no good. If my Zrika was good, then it would help me that my animal is not Meilah anymore. My animal is not Kochi Hashem, it becomes the Kain's. But since my pigul ruined my Zrika, so to speak, so my Zrika doesn't have the power to remove the Kedusha from it. And Meilah, it cannot remove the Meilah. And since it's a bad Zrika, so also in Kochi Kalim, it doesn't become Kadosh. So I'm not over on Meilah then. My Zrika is no good. But Kitzer, Zrika is no good if I do pigul to it. No? Typically, Zrika creates Meilah or removes Meilah. Zrika either creates Meilah or takes off Meilah, depending if you're talking about Kochi Kochim or Kochim Kalim. It changes the status of this animal. This animal just went from Hashem to a Kohen. So now, it went from Meilah to not Meilah on Kochi Kochim. And a Kochi Kalim is the reverse. It went from being owned by a human being to now being given to HaKadosh Baruch Hu on the Imurim part. But it changes by Zrika. The Zrika is what changes this. That's the last of the four avodas. Last of the four avodas is when it changes properties. It goes from Hashem to a Kohen. But if you messed up the Zrika, you messed it up in your head by thinking about Pigul,
Status quo.
the status quo. I didn't do a good Zrika, so then it remains Kadosh. And if it remains Kadosh, it also remains that owner, so it never went to Hashem in Kochim Kalim. I can't be chayiv on Imurim to put on the Mizbeach because I did a very bad Zrika. It's as if I just chopped off its head, I didn't do Shchita. Omer Rav Gidol Omer Rav, Zrikas pigul einoi moitzi midei Meilah, Because you catch him. So first of all, if it's Hashem's, it remains Hashem's status quo because I did a terrible zrika. Ve'enoi mevi l'dei Meilah b'kachim kalim. Hold on. What are you saying? Say. Mata Omer.
Took me an hour to understand this.
And now you understand it?
No, I'm because I didn't have you to explain.
No, the item should start watching YouTube. Okay. Fine. This is only two people. Right? I call upon him. Omer Rav Gidel, Omer Rav Zrika, people in the Moitzim they Meilah b'kachim kachim. Ve'enoi mevi, and it also the zrika ruins it, so it doesn't become. What happened? They just dropped it. And maybe they Meilah b'kachim kalim. And Meilah, the zrika doesn't finish the 4 avodas that the kachim kalim should have a status of kedusha where you're mayal. It's kedai maybe to jump into Taisus for a second because Taisus is a beautiful pshat here. Yeah, okay, 5 minutes. So we'll read Taisus really quickly. You see the Taisus? Zrikas pigol einu moitzim dei Meilah b'kachim kalim. Pirush. Im shochad bepigol v'achach zorek stam. If he shechted and then he did stam zrika, ein azrika moitzi osay midei Meilah the nikri bei heter lekohanim. This doesn't create a heter for kohanim. Avagav de mahanya zrika like bui bepigol. All the time zrika says Taisus is beautiful. How do you get to pigol to begin with? Zvachim. You have to have all 4, exactly. Kartzas kosher, kartzas posel. In order to eat the piece of meat, you have to have shchita, kabbalah, ilocha, zrika. So in order to make it pigol, you need all 4. So in other words, zrika works, says Taisvis. Zrika has power. It does work in order to create pigol, but it doesn't have enough power to change rishuya, says Taisvis. Kartzas kosher, kartzas posel.
Because it worked to make it legal, therefore.
Alma bi'inon bepigol krevas matirim behechsher v'sokadaito chamino the kamoy kain. I would think that the same thing. Chashav rachmana lizrika lahaytim de Meilah. I would think since it's so powerful to create a pigol, because I need the 4th thing called. You can't say the zrika is puzzle. It's puzzle zrika. If it's puzzle zrika, then I don't have my 4 avodas. I need 4 avodas, full 4 avodas. So it is a good zrika. So I would think that maybe it should also remove the status of being Hashem's and go to the Kohen's. Okay, so it's not the Kohen's, but it's not Hashem's anymore. Over here, Taisus is really talking about going into Kachim Kalim, that it should be Pigol. It can't do 2 things. It can't accomplish 2 things. Like Bui be Pigol or Loheitim de Meilah. It can't also be Pigol, which it does. It does accomplish being Pigol and also take it out of Meilah. Fine. So the Gemara. Yosef Abai was saying this over. Rav Papa hears this. Labai. So let's talk about toilet for 1 second. A beautiful thing happened to a person. He was saved from a terrible thing. He had a disease. He became healthy. So he brings what?
He came in a flight.
He was saved from the Titanic. What?
He came in a flight. He wanted to save that.
My friend, a guy I know from Chicago, was on United in 91, where 150 people died, and he survived. Lo mishana. Okay, Toida. Then he came to Israel to learn yeshiva, and he got run over by the number 1 bus. Fine. He's not. Okay. Yeah, Ma'aser Shaya. There's a lot to the story. I can tell you all about it. But it happens to be that day in Sioux City, Iowa, they were training for a plane crash for the entire United States. So they had 90 ambulances on the tarmac just ready. It just so happens to be. And it so happens to be that the guy that trains all the pilots of the DC-10 was on that flight. So he was able to save all those people because they lost hydraulics. They could only turn right. So they could only turn right and land, turn right. And as they landed, the wing clipped the runway and it flipped over. And my friend, the person next to him, asked him if he could switch seats. He switched seats and the person next to him died. Zok the Gemara. His name is Brownstein. If you want to look him up, he's in Chicago. From guy. So a guy needs to. So you go, you bring a toida You bring a carbon and you bring 40 lechamim. Now, we're gonna let him in the front of the line. He was going to the Kaisel to bring his taida, and he got ran over by the one boss.
Stabbed by an Arab selling bread on the way.
Now the bread, Rabbi said, when you bring bread, it's a kachim kalim. It's only the lighter kachim. But once you shecht, here's what happens. This is not important to our sugya, but once you shecht the animal, the main carbon, then all the bread turns into kachim. It comes like an animal. That happens at the time of shechita. Now, shoichet is atoy the lifnim v'lach malachutz. What if you shecht the bread? You have the breads outside. It's no good. Like kodesh halechem. Then by me shechting the animal doesn't have any effect on the bread. It doesn't give it kedusha. It's not part of it. Shchata ad shaloi karmu ponei batanur. Another halacha. The bread has to be ready before the shechita. So if it's not brown or whatever karmu ponez, even afilu karmu kulan chutz ma'achas mehem like kodesh halechem. Now. Fine, that's the halach. But what happens if I shech this animal outside of its place? So it's kodesh halechem. Alma pigol maisi lo lidei mi'ila. So you see that even though there is pigol, I thought about shechting this animal chutz lizman. What's chutz lizman? Pigol. Nevertheless, I can create a gedusha. I can create Meilah on the bread. If the bread becomes Kodesh Kodashim, when I shecht, that means that there's Meilah. And how did that happen? Even though I had a bad thought. A terrible thought of Pigul. Ishtik. No. The Pigul happens. What happens? The Pigul, when does the bread become Kodesh? When I shecht. When does it become bad? When's my machshava finished like everything else? You need all four machshavas. That only happens at the end by zrika. But over here, the zrika is so bad that it doesn't give me a time to take it out of Meilah. By the bread, by step one, I made a gedushas habread. So Meilah moil on the bread. At that point, there's no Meilah, there's no Pigul yet, because how does Pigul work? I have to do step 1, 2, 3, 4. After I do the fourth step of Zrika, then the Pigul comes, even though my Machshava was in step 1, then it becomes Pigul. But over here, I want to change the status by the Zrika is no good, because it's a Pigul Zrika. So Meilah doesn't work. Yichab. Over here we're trying to use step 4, and over there by Taida we're using step 1, and by step 1 there's no Pigul yet. You know what? We can stop over here. It's a new sugya. We'll stop over here. Have a wonderful Shabbos.
Kiddush on Shabbos?
Is there a Kiddush?
Yeah.
What? Oh.
Kiddush on Shabbos.
Oh. There's a kid, Noam's bar mitzvah. I thought you were saying the shir. What time is shir? I don't care about your Kiddush. No, sorry. There's a Noam's, whoever they make the bar mitzvah must come to the Kiddush at Bnei Yeshivas and watch how the building is coming up. It's coming together after davening, and shears at 5:30 in Bnei Yeshivas. And Sunday, Rabbi say Sunday, 7:15 downstairs in the basement. The stairs are to the left of the main stairs going up into the base marriage, because this is not available during Slichas.